What's going on, guys? Matt and Greg here with Project Unbroken. Today we're going to be talking about Oxycontin, one of the major factors in people getting addicted to heroin, us included. Stay tuned.
Alright, so we're back. So today we're talking about Oxycontin. Major factor for me, definitely. I know for Matt as well, but especially for me into getting me into heroin use and really getting me addicted to opiates in general. Do you remember the first time you did Oxycontin?
Yeah, I think I was with you.
Yeah.
Typical. Yeah, it's
great influences on each other.
Yeah, really. But Greg has described this a couple times before, and it was the same for me. It's just this overwhelming, comforting, at-home feeling. Yeah,
I'll never forget the first time I did Oxycontin. We were living in Philly, and a friend came up with an 80 milligram Oxy. They're like a greenish color, and he scraped it off. And I didn't even know what it was. I never even heard of it at the time. I was about 18, 19, 20, something like that. And he chopped it up and crushed it and split it in like 4 ways. So I actually ended up sniffing a 20 milligram. And I remember sniffing it and laying on that floor like, oh my God. And I like knew right there that I loved this drug, and it led me into a whole bunch of trouble from there.
Yeah, I mean, you hear a lot of people talking about their experience with Oxycontin, like when they first find it, as it's just the answer to all of your problems, or at least that's what it feels like at the time.
What'd you think?
Because it has this way of just whatever's going on in your life, whatever was an issue, 2 minutes before you ingested that Oxycontin is no longer a problem. You immediately feel better about everything. You get this like glowing high, body high through your body that just feels incredible. And especially in the beginning stages when you're first messing around with it, it's super addicting. Like you just love the way you feel.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is obviously I've done heroin. I was a heroin addict. That's one of the main things that led me to heroin. It's very similar to how you feel on heroin. It's just a little more synthetic. And that's scary considering the numbers on how much Oxycontin is produced per year. It is fucking ridiculous. And actually when I saw this stat, it pissed me off because although it's my fault, I got into this addiction. I was young, I was stupid, and the drug should not have been that accessible to us. It shouldn't have been that easy to get. We could get Oxycontin whenever we wanted, over and over and over again.
We were talking about this right before we hit the record button on this video, and Greg asked me, he was like, how were we always able to have it? Like, how is that possible? It's a substance that is, you know, regulated and controlled and prescribed to patients shouldn't be that readily available, especially something so incredibly powerful as an Oxy 80.
That should be like for people who are like going through cancer or like chronic. I think one of the stats we found was 58 opioid prescriptions are written for every 100 Americans.
That was yeah, for 2017 there were 58 opioid prescriptions like Oxycontin written for every 100 Americans. That's essentially 60% of Americans. Like that's how many prescriptions were filled out, and obviously 60% of Americans don't need a prescription for pain,
especially fucking Oxycontin.
Yeah,
right. I mean, even Percocets are too much sometimes. I remember after I got off, I had gotten a surgery for something, and I got Percocets, and I actually took one because I was in pretty decent amount of pain, and I took it, and I was like, man, it's kind of strong. Like, and I threw the rest of them away because I knew what could happen, but I just can't believe that they're that available. Even like for surgeries, like they'll give you a bottle of 30. It's like, what? Like, why not give 10 and then check up on them after that? You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason to give someone 30 when they have a minor surgery that they're going to feel better for in 2 days. It's crazy.
Well, we talk about this in some of our other videos because, you know, a lot of people get hooked into this thing because of surgery, or, you know, just they're unsuspecting. Their doctor gives them a 30-day prescription of pain pills. You know, you're gonna be hooked. Anything you do for 30 days, like that's like when we try to get people to create good habits, we usually recommend, like, you know, start small, do this one thing. After 30 days, it's gonna be a habit in your life. Taking an addictive substance for 30 days is definitely gonna become a habit in your life, especially if you're not aware of the dangers of how addicting these pills are.
Yeah, I think Oxycontin, you know, that was definitely when I was doing pills before it led me into heroin a couple years later, Oxycontin was definitely the biggest culprit because it had the strongest feeling. Like, you know, I'd messed with Roxy-Sets and Percocet and Vicodin, and it was like after the Oxycontin, I didn't even want any of those. Like, it was, so I think Oxycontin's definitely even more dangerous than the Vicodin and Percocet. They're all very dangerous, but Oxycontin was on another level just because of the strength and the similarity it has to heroin with how it makes you feel.
Yeah, I remember when we were looking for whatever we could get,
Oxy was first.
First on the list. If you could, it was always a disappointment. I mean, I would say even for a while with heroin, like we were like, God, let's try to get these oxys.
Yeah.
And then if not, you're like, I guess we'll get, you know.
And I think part of that was we felt better doing oxys because it's a man-made pill, it's prescribed, and we were like, well, if we do oxy, it's not as bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it has that feeling that it's, you know, clean or socially accepted because a doctor prescribes it and whatever.
So another status, in 2017 there was more than 17,000 deaths involving prescription opioids, so that's about 46 per day, and those stats are only increasing. So we did this we were doing pills back in like the early 2000s, mid 2000s. Not only was it accessible to us back then all the time, but it's got even worse. They're producing more now. Like what's going on? It's crazy.
It's just a money grab, I feel like. I mean, it just works the whole way through it. It's legal drug dealing
pretty much
at that level. I mean, it's, you know, obviously we're not, as citizens, not allowed to sell them to each other or anything like that, but they know damn well that 60% of Americans don't need a prescription for pain.
Absolutely,
like
especially something like Oxycontin. I mean, Oxycontin literally is something like we could get anytime we want. I just don't understand how that happens because Oxycontin is extremely strong if you never used it. I mean, it's like, it will get rid of pretty much any pain you have, and people are getting it for like minor surgery, or, you know, they get a cut on their arm. Like, they must be giving it to people for anything.
Yeah, I mean, let me ask you this. Like, I just don't know. If I ate an Oxy 80 right now, would it kill me?
You might have to go to the hospital for an Oxy 80 right now. Because you haven't had
tolerance
so long. Yeah, the 20 I took was the first time I ever took it, and I wasn't experienced with opioids then, and it had me like in a cloud. Like, I was fucked up.
Yeah,
I was fucked up.
They're extremely powerful and dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. I mean, I remember there were horror stories of people overdosing, just sniffing a line. They didn't know how much it was. It was, you know, 40 or 60 milligrams. You're done.
Yeah, and again, if you're that young, you don't know the difference. Like, it was a pill that's like this big. I'd be like, what's a pill this big going to do to me, right? I could easily pop the whole thing and overdose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, Oxycontin for me is definitely the most dangerous prescription opioid because of my experience. I've experienced pretty much all of them, and they are just on another level. I definitely contribute the biggest thing to leading me into heroin addiction.
Again, I've said this before, there's no way I ever would have tried heroin without oxys having the hooks in me.
Absolutely.
Like, there would have been no pool. I'd be like, are you fucking crazy? Yeah. Like, nah, I'm good. But, I mean, again, another statistic, 80% of people who mess with heroin first abused prescription opioids.
We both fall right in there.
Yeah, I mean, that's 80% is a big number. And then people, you know, even in like affluent, rich communities, they're like, how are my kids getting hooked on this? It's because 9 times out of 10, like, they get hooked on oxys, and just one thing, or whatever opioid pill there is, one thing leads to another, and heroin's cheap and easily accessible.
It's crazy.
But people don't understand, like, when oxys that's the gateway drug.
Oxy is definitely.
That is it was for us, it is, you know, that and other synthetic opioids, 100%. Like, you know, again, it's, people don't just stumble into heroin, you know, from smoking weed. Next thing they're buying bags. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not how it goes at all.
So yeah, Oxycontin addiction, we struggled with it for a long, long time. Look, if you've never tried it, there's no reason to try it. It's gonna make you feel extremely good, but you're gonna pay for it, okay? Mm-hmm. That's one of the things people struggle with. As they use more and more, they get more used to that feeling of just feeling so good, so they want more and more of it, right? But as you go on, you realize that in order to have that feeling, you need to have everything that comes with it, which is all the shit show. You can't use and expect it to be just one time and not suffer the consequences, and that's what a lot of people do. They get caught up in that, I just want to feel like this, just this once, And that's not how it works. If you want to use, you need to accept everything that comes along with it.
And that's a lot of shit.
It's a lot of
that
shit
comes along with it.
Absolutely.
Money, relationships, everything will kind of go down the toilet.
You'll pretty much
eventually
lose yourself. I mean, I lost myself in my addiction for sure.
And that takes a long time to get it back. Like it's not, and honest to God, most people don't get it back.
Yeah, it took me years to kind of build myself back up again. But the good news is, I've now found like that same feeling Oxycontin gave me off sobriety. Like
naturally. Yeah, and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
and
it takes work. You know, you gotta watch our other videos. We'll go into that more. I don't want to cover that in this video, but it's definitely possible to feel the same way. Not the same way, but to have that comfortable feeling that an Oxycontin gives you or an opioid gives you. It's possible to feel that when you're sober, which is an awesome thing.
I mean, that's a big reason I started using it in the first place, is I was trying to feel a certain way, like fill a void, or just, I don't know if it was self-esteem I was looking for or whatever it was. You can find that without the headaches of opioids or heroin or any of that shit.
Yeah, so Oxycontin, steer clear of it. The shit is no joke.
Stay away, guys.
All right, so I hope you all like this video. If you like, comment, subscribe, let us know what you think, and we'll see you all soon.
See you guys.